unless we are able to get growers and able to get the industry to adopt sound resistance management practices, we're probably going to continue to add to our list of resistant weeds and to our list of weeds that are resistant to multiple classes of chemistry. Well, since the early 2000s, we've been dealing with varying levels of herbicide-resistant Palmer pigweed in both soybeans and cotton throughout Arkansas. Sometime around 2005 or 6, our pigweed populations in Arkansas developed resistance to glyphosate. Since that time, we've used a combination of residual products along with post-emerge conventional soybean herbicides, as well as the Liberty Link technology to battle glyphosate-resistant pigweed. Unfortunately, after many years of using the same families of chemistry, we have again developed pigweed that are resistant to some of our most widely used herbicides, this being the PPO class of chemistry. Now, this class of chemistry includes residual products like Valor and the Authority brands, as well as post-emerge products like Flexstar and Blazer. What we end up with is a pigweed that's resistant to 3 or 4, now multiple modes of action. In some fields in Arkansas, this has resulted in us being very limited in our options if you want to grow soybeans in some of these fields. As a matter of fact, where we have PPO resistance, oftentimes if it weren't for Liberty Link soybeans, we would not be able to even consider growing beans in those fields. So we've had to make a lot of recommendations in terms of crop rotation, other cultural practices like higher seeding rates, narrow row spacing, and cover crops to help make up for the lack of herbicide options in some of these fields. The Palmer amaranth seed is very long-lived in the soil. It has a high seed dormancy. It can take as many as 5 to 7 years to completely eliminate a population from a given field. So once you have this problem, it's very difficult to get rid of. An individual female plant can produce over 1 million seed. That's kind of an extreme, but it is possible. So you can imagine what happens if you run one of these plants through the combine and then move that combine to subsequent fields. You're just going to spread that problem. We talk to guys a lot about sterilizing equipment, moving from field to field, cleaning out combines. You know, if we test a field and it's positive, we certainly don't want to go from that field to a field where we don't have a resistance problem, because you will have. And we do have a zero tolerance program, which is sort of the concept of never letting a pigweed go to seed, doing everything you possibly can to eliminate that pigweed from the population. The problem is we have turn rows, we have ditch banks, you know, it's very easy to contaminate a field with tillage equipment, planters, and especially combines, and that sort of thing. So it's just very difficult to completely eliminate a pigweed problem. It's really a pretty amazing weed, a very challenging weed, and one that I don't see going away anytime soon. I don't think anybody envisioned a time when, you know, 90% of our crops would be glyphosate tolerant, or a huge percentage of our rice would get the same, you know, herbicide used across vast acres. And as that has happened over time, we have just created an environment where we do have herbicide resistance. So weed science has gone from being more of a profession that deals with developing new herbicides and learning how to use new herbicides. We still do that where we can, but as we now have limited herbicide modes of action, and we're using those same modes of action over and over again, almost every talk you hear weed scientists give now is about herbicide resistance. And so just in the last 20 to 25 years, we've seen a complete kind of paradigm shift in what our profession has had to deal with.